Hi, Professor Sills here, and I want to take out a couple of minutes, just adjusting the audio here to make sure it's good. All right, I want to take out a couple of minutes. There's a lot. I'm not going to make a video every day, but there just happens to be a lot of teachable moments at the moment. First of all, does it feel different outside where you are in northern New Jersey than it did yesterday or the day before? And your answer had better be yes. You'd better have noticed that it's not only significantly cooler, but what do you notice about the humidity? Yes, I know it's raining or it's very damp out, but does it feel as sticky or humid? And your answer probably is no, it doesn't feel as sticky or humid. Well, let's understand this. I challenged you the other day to identify what a cold front really is and what changes when a cold front passes through. And quite obviously one feature is the temperature drops. But what else happens? Well, one of the things you may have noticed is a change in the humidity. One of the ways that we measure humidity is through something called dew point, and I want to bring you to a National Weather Service page, and this happens to be the forecast for Haledon, which would be the same as Patterson. And the local airport that they're referring to here is Caldwell, and that's as good as any. And I'm going to go to 3-day history, and I can see that at 13:53 or 1400, that would be about 2 p.m. I'm recording this at about 3 p.m. on Tuesday afternoon. At about 2 p.m., Caldwell came in with light rain and conditions that were pretty chilly. So, temperature of 60 degrees and dew point of 59. Now, technically, dew point is defined as the temperature at which the relative humidity would be 100%. So when the air is 60 and the dew point is 59, close to 100% humidity. But dew point has another meaning to us humans. If we go back in time, and we can do that here by scrolling down the list, back maybe about 24 hours ago, 12 hours ago. Really to yesterday afternoon. Look at this, dew point 70, 69, 66. If we go back a few hours before that, 72, 71, 70. And a dew point around 70 was observed mostly for the last 3 days. That's close to upper 60s, lower 70s. It felt sticky, didn't it? To many people in northern New Jersey. By the way, we're in the mid 70s here for dew point in Florida. Not fun. I don't enjoy that. But the dew point really dropped off several hours ago. Your last 70-degree dew point was at 2200, which would have been 10 o'clock last night. So since then, the dew point has been going straight down. That means your comfort factor should be better. Even if it's raining out, even if it's high relative humidity, that's a key word, relative, and we're going to be learning about what that means. So you may have noticed that as a change. You may also have noticed a wind shift as a change, and I want to bring up this WW 2010 map to show that. The winds now in New York City are from the northeast, Atlantic City from the northeast, Nantucket from the northeast. This wind barb right here goes into the circle. That tells you it's a northeasterly wind. In contrast, the wind up here in Holton, Maine is from due north, or the wind here in, I think that's Bangor, is from the northwest. I see no winds here in the northeastern U.S. from any other direction like that. Your wind primarily prior to this was from the south. So you had a southerly wind ahead of the cold front, you had warm temperatures, you had high humidities, high dew point more importantly, and now behind the cold front you've got lower dew points, you've got northerly winds, and you've got lower temperatures and rain to go along with it. Sometimes it clears out behind the cold front, sometimes it doesn't. This time, luck is not on your side. You can see in the radar loop that there's a mess here. If I make that loop, you're going to see a mess going on here. It's my iced coffee. That's kind of like mandatory material here for South Florida. Now here's the thing that's really interesting on this map. This is from Weatherbell. You can go look at it yourself if you're seeing this shortly after I post this. You'll see this bulge of rain, and It looks like this is what's left of Lee, and it looks like most of the rain has been thrust up ahead of it, unfortunately ahead of the cold front. And I don't think that cold front is forecast to move much, which means that there's going to be what's called overrunning. The warm air hits the front and it rises up and over, and that's what causes the rain to the north of the front. You can pretty much pick out where the front is. Look at this, 63 degrees in Washington, D.C., 91 degrees in Norfolk, Virginia. I guarantee you there isn't normally a 28-degree difference between Washington, D.C. and Norfolk, Virginia. So clearly Norfolk is on the warm side. I would say Atlantic City, 72, is probably right on the front, or maybe the front just moved through. Now here's something else that's very interesting. Here's where I am, down in South Florida. We're about to get clobbered with some storms, maybe, because they seem to be riding more or less west to east. Well, believe it or not, this is the front. And it doesn't show up much here because the radar doesn't reach out into the open ocean, but this is the front. And north of the front, Jacksonville, 79 degrees, Tallahassee, I'm sure, is sunny and a very nice 82. We're in the low 90s, well, we were. Now the clouds have rolled in. I'm looking outside, and I can see it's dark to the north and northwest. Well, that's this. So this is actually a very early cold front for this far south. Won't mean much to South Florida. I looked at dew points, and there's no relief until you get up towards Jacksonville and Tallahassee. And in my professional opinion, there's no way that drier air, less humid air, essentially, is going to make it all the way through the Florida Peninsula this early in the quote-unquote autumn season. I realize that autumn begins autumn begins astronomically on September 20 or 21 or 22, thereabouts. But climatologically, it really begins for New Jersey right about now. That's why this is not unusual at all. Labor Day rolls around, and all of a sudden it goes from warm and humid to cool and drier. Now, you're not quite at the dryer yet, but you will be. There are a couple more days of this stuff to roll through before you really dry out. And unfortunately, it looks like that energy from Lee is going to keep sending moisture your way northward, so that the forecast for your area is wet, followed by wet, followed by more wet. And that's just not good news for anybody who lives in or near a flood-prone area and or drives through a flood-prone area. And again, remember my warning about Katia. I'm going to bring up the forecast model tracks. This is going to show Katia's movement, and you can see that Katia is forecast to do a U-hook turning north and then northeast. Well, this is New Jersey. It's going to parallel the eastern seaboard for a time over the next few days. And all that's going to do is churn up the ocean so that there will be tremendous wave action and rip current activity along the shore. And again, remember my warning. After Labor Day, lifeguards are scarce, people are brave, some people, and they go in the water, and if they're not a strong swimmer, or if they're not wise to what a rip current is, the result can be tragedy. So, you know, my advice, tell your friends, you want to go to the beach this weekend? I'm sure the weather will be nice by the weekend. I'm sure it'll be warm. May even get humid again. I don't know. But and the water will be warm. The water stays warm for another month or so. But you got to be careful when you've got something like Katia out in the middle of the Atlantic, and I believe it's a Category 3 or a Category 4 right now. So that's just something to be aware of. All right, Professor Sills signing out. Yes, I'm aware of the fact that some people are still ordering books and waiting for them to come in and all that stuff. That's fine. Absolutely no problem at all. When the stuff gets there is when you can do the assignments, and when you do the assignments, you get them done, and then simply hand them in at that point. I'm not one to worry about, oh gee, it was a day late and I'm gonna, you know, count points off or something like that. I just want to see you do the work, because doing that work is going to help you on the ultimate evaluation that I really care about, and that's your exams. Because your exams is where you will show me what you understand. Make sense? And it's these kind of briefings that take advantage of teachable moments where hopefully I'm imparting stuff that may or may not be part of our current unit, but certainly is going to play a role down the road. Like when I talk about fronts and changes across fronts, that's stuff that you're absolutely going to see, because that's core to meteorology. All right, you have a great day, and enjoy the balance of your day or your evening or whenever it is you're seeing this.